Hi everybody. Reading time. Sorry I'm late. I cooked dinner. That's it. I didn't get to eat it, but by God I cooked. Hi Kat. How is everybody? I have it open. I'm so fucking excited. I haven't read this one cuz Gord Van Dome's Downward Spiral I did in fact read before. This one I think I've skimmed the first chapter and that was a very long time ago. So this is going to be all new for me. Also, it's not finished and I don't think it will be, but I have faith that this fan fiction will be adequately good slash bad enough for us to enjoy as a family. So, let's fucking jump right in, dude. Um, browser. Got it. We're so fucking in there. Um, so in the notes, by the way, very fucking funny. I'll read the note. Some of it. I just want to make this clear now. Lots of characters will die. Hi, welcome in. Hope you're good. Lots of characters will die. This is not the same universe as my Downward Spiral series. So rest ease. However, like I said, characters will die, including your faves, some with some deaths being described in depth, and some being mercifully instant. These chapters are short because I appear to only write better with short bursts of energy, unlike my Downward Spiral stories, where the chapters take me about a month to write up and check for mistakes. I will not be clicking that though. Thank you so much for trying. Um, is it really? We don't read other people's fan fictions on Fanfiction Friday, but on Saturday. We pick a shitty one, pre-written for us, and I read that one. But thank you for sharing. Okay. Now that we've clarified that this isn't in the same universe as Downward Spiral, thank God I'd hate for my favorite characters to die and end up in a Downward Spiral. Because there's 3 Downward Spiral variants. It's the uh Gord, obviously, we've read that one. Kirby Olsen, which is the gay jock character, and then Duncan, who appeared in Gord's Downward Spiral. Um, so I've read Kirby. I haven't read Duncan because they didn't finish Duncan. But nothing but the deepest respect for the Duncan one. The Kirby one was horrendous. I decided not to read the Kirby main half because it made me uncomfortable. Not to the point where I wouldn't read it as a result, but because it made me uncomfortable, I feel like it could make other people uncomfortable. And then the other half, um, because I don't want to seem as if we can only read Downward Spirals for Fanfiction Friday. It seems we can only read this author, though, just because I trust them to be good enough. You know what I mean? I'm thinking maybe next time we read, like, a really shitty, like, dollar store romance novel or something in the future. Because I know that'll be long and also complete, because it got published, you know what I'm saying? So maybe we'll do that in the future. I don't know. Once we finish this, I actually have no the fuck idea what we're gonna do on Saturdays. So there'll be trouble figuring that out. But anyway. Okay. I'm so excited. Let's go. Um Stop, we're already British. Oi, Jimmy, get up, you lug. A year ago, Jimmy would have shoved Petey in the trash can for waking him up so rudely. He would have never done that. But because of his respect for his now best friend, the skinhead just... Oi, it's already good. Let's go. The British is already showing. The skinhead, not what you think that means, but okay, sure, just snorts and shoves the hand off his bare shoulder. Get out of my room. The what? We're off to a phenomenal start. I knew they'd never let me down. Wow, okay. Come on, Petey protested, already fully dressed in his uniform. Class isn't... the way they portray Petey is gonna piss me the fuck off, by the way. Class is in 10 minutes. You don't have time to eat breakfast. Good, Jimmy groans as he sat up, and the head boy almost did a facepalm, upon realizing that Jimmy was only wearing his tighty-whities. It's winter, Jimmy, he whined with a high pitch. Why the hell aren't you wearing pajamas like normal people? Because I'm not normal, his friend snapped, and held his head with a grimace. Shit, I'm not drinking with Johnny and Peanut again. That made Petey raise an eyebrow, crossing his arms. What did you say in front of the head boy, Hopkins? Hold on, let me get rid of my bookmarks so it's a little cleaner for you guys to look at. Nothing, Jimmy sighed, and he nodded firmly. Good, because I don't want to abuse my power again. What's the water drinking gimmick this time? Maybe every time it's British, you have to drink. Because, oh my god, it's happened like twice. Petey, Jimmy snorts, sneaking me free coffee from the staff lounge hardly counts as evil corruption. Yes, well, I could easily lose this job, the brunette blurts. Oh, I forgot some people think Petey is white. Hate that so much. Now get ready. Don't forget that Dr. Crabble Snitch has made me responsible for stopping any problems from worsening within Bulworth Academy, including students he knows I'm pals with. Petey, relax. Don't forget we have a little party going on in this dorm tonight, so once tomorrow comes, I can raise hell and then have you sweep the problems under the carpets. But Petey spoke up in protest when his taller pal gave him a friendly shove on the shoulder. Now go already, I'm getting changed. Unless you want to watch? Gord says I'm good at I'm going! Jeez! Jimmy laughed to himself as the head boy slammed the door shut and he changed into his usual school uniform. Nothing fancy apart from changing his school shoes to a pair of army boots he suspected to be originally stolen from a dead North Vietnamese... I forgot there's like weird politically charged stuff in these sometimes. I forgot that they fucking do that. You remember the Israel-Palestine thing that they did in the first one? In Gord Vindo's Outer Spiral, they were in English class and they were like debating Israel-Palestine. You know how fucking crazy that shit was? Oh my god. Wow. Just like old times. Anyway, to be originally stolen from a dead North Vietnamese soldier. Stepping out of his room after giving his used chem set a cursory glance, he joined Petey as they hurried out the dorm. Oh my god, I forgot they were like that. And into the main building of Bulworth Academy. Glad that's over, Jimmy muttered as he left the chemistry classroom, but I hate the smell of the new chemicals they ordered in. Beatrice heard him as she walked past with a tiny giggle. But they're so amazing with the functions they have, she says gleefully. I just can't wait until we get to see the cyanide, but Dr. Watts says we can't even handle the vials yet. Are they fucking putting cyanide in your guys's, high school classrooms? Doing it for every weird political thing as well. I hope there's more for you. They were pretty sparse in the first one, but the first one being Gord, of course. No cyanide in my high school classroom, just for the record. I don't even remember doing anything like lab-esque in chemistry. Once. I remember it once, but that's it. It wasn't fucking cyanide. Right. Her friend glanced at her before opening his locker. His actual locker, not some random student's, to take a drink of soda. We just like did official time. We did dissections, but that was 8th grade. We did a worm. And a couple of other things, but I got out of them. Because I didn't like it. I was like, no, animals. That's so sad. Oh, and did you know, she gushed, that cyanide smells like almonds? Really now, Jimmy says lightly before burping and tossing the can across the corridor to land in the trash, only to bounce off of Sheldon's head as he is currently stuffed inside yelling for help. I know a few things that smell like roasted nuts. Really? Tell me. He paused before chuckling with a wink. You're smart. You'll know them anyway, B. Suddenly understanding, the nerd tittered to herself before leaving to talk to Angie, and Jimmy shut his locker. Well, lunchtime. Time to die. Don't know what lunch has to do with dying, but sure, go off, King. Speak your truth. As per tradition, the king of the academy got to sit wherever he wanted, and today he chose to sit at the nerds' table, much to the envy of the other cliques. Ernest nervously scooted closer, almost shaking with the ideas to share with him about interschool relations and how to eliminate physical sports from the curriculum, only for the king to raise his hand, and he shut up straight away. Um, bitter. Yeah, everyone loves the almond, the cyanide almond bit because they read it probably once, in like high school. But yeah, it's like a maybe that it smells that way. A lot of the time, you can't smell it, to my knowledge. Um, or better, how about an opt out system so that we don't get rid of sports but let people choose if they want to join? Despite the clear disapproval in Ernest's face, he bowed with enthusiasm, lacing his voice. Great idea. I'll put that motion forward to Dr. Crabblesnitch and say it's your idea. You deserve it. I will, Jimmy. Although Jimmy wished that everyone hated him enough to leave him alone in peace to eat his food, he couldn't quite deny that he enjoyed the warmth of belonging someplace where people seemed to like him. It's not like spending those nights alone in his former houses where there was a constant countdown before an explosive stepdad loses their rag over the slightest problem. Beat it, Petey. That squeak snapped him out of his thoughts as he looked 2 tables ahead, seeing Jury square up. Yuri? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'll do Jury, because I'm good at making executive decisions. Lurching over Petey as he pathetically held his lunch tray. We don't want you at our table. Okay, I'm going. Look, I'm leaving, he yelled, hurrying over to the prep's table only for them to boo at him, and he slunk off with pure dejection in his face. Jimmy watched him hesitantly inch toward the next table, but the greasers just glared at him while Vance drunk down a can of cola, offering him an apologetic look. Johnny's been suspended. I forgot the cringe counter. Okay, give me 2 seconds while I go add that. Totally forgot that we did cringe. Very important. We have to add her back. Dude, I hated Drunk Down. Drunk Down was so bad. Fuck you for Drunk Down. Okay. Oh shit. Yeah, I actually have to Google it. Hold on. We did get to 200 last time. This is like half the length. Documentation. Here we go. Hmm. Mm-mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Here we go. Count. Mm. Let me minimize chat real quick. Okay. Dollar sign. Okay, I don't know if this will work, but let me give it a go. Mm-mm. Count name invalid. Okay. It's because I didn't add a variable. Let me see how to do that. Oh, do we get to 300? That's crazy. Okay, hold on. Let me reset it. I have to add a whole new command for that, by the way. Okay. Cringe reset. Count dot set cringe. Sorry, it's a dollar sign. Forgot. Cringe 0. That didn't work. Oh, wait. Hold on. Cringe reset. 0. Cringe reset. Beautiful. I'm really good at this. I'm really good at this. Okay, anyway. Who has rights to that? Let me one more thing, one more thing. Okay. If I recall correctly, it was both, but since it's a new command, it would have just been me if I hadn't given everybody else rights to it. So now you both have the power. As you did before. I don't know if there's a cooldown on it, so go crazy. I don't give a fuck. Okay, we're back. Sorry about that. Totally forgot I was absolutely not prepared. Okay. Where were we? Jimmy watched. Okay, we'll just start here. Jimmy watched him hesitantly inch toward the next table, but the greasers just glared at him while Vance drunk down a can of cola, offering him an apologetic look. Johnny's been suspended from school for breaking Darby's nose with a condom full of pebbles. Drunk down. Can I have a cringe for condom full of pebbles, please? So he made. I fucking hate condom full of pebbles. Thank you so much, Kat, for your cringe. So he made Vance the stand in click litter. What the fuck do you mean? It would be Peanut. Oh. Don't think I didn't notice you not following the rules. The second he glanced over at the nerd table, all the nerds with frightening synchronization crossed their arms in an X pose. The T pose has evolved and become. Oh! That one was like taking psychic damage. I need another cringe, please. We're on a fucking roll. Fed up, Jimmy grunted and stood up. Come with me, Petey. Let's eat outside. The nerds shot him a look of surprise as he abandoned his lunch tray. Thank you for cringe. Grabbing only a soggy toasty with paper-thin cheese and rancid ham before holding Petey's wrist and practically dragging him out. Is this a Petey Jimmy? Hold on. It is. It's my favorite. Okay, sorry. We'll focus. You need to stand up for yourself more, was what Jimmy said to him as they sat in the broken-down school bus. You just sit in the grass. Toasty? That's some British shit. Another sip for you. So true, cat. Good catch. If you don't, you'll never get listened to, even if you are head boy. I know, he snapped before apologizing. Sorry, Ernest has been a real pig lately, and keeps strutting around acting like he owns the place. Just how, he blurts, looking at his friend helplessly. How can I be as outrageous as you? Be me, I suppose, Jimmy shrugs, and bites the toasty, only to snarl in disgust. Damn it, that ham is raw. Won't you need A and E for that? What the hell is A and E? Is that some British shit, too? What is A and E? In England. Accident and oh my god, it's ER. Cat, another sip for you. Wow, they're really sounds British to me. And you were absolutely correct, it is British. No, Jimmy scoffs, tossing the toasty out the window. Just leave it for the birds or Mr. Hobo. If he's still around, Petey sighs softly. The nerd said there was some weird paranormal activity around the last time you spoke to him. Seen anything weird? Nah, the skinhead. Happy sip. More like Fuzzhead from letting his hair grow naturally, answered lazily. But wherever he is, I hope he's in a better place. Winter in Bulworth is just as bad as Michigan's weather. Hi, Michigan! Michigan mention! Let's go! Yeah. Petey glanced at Jimmy as he gazed ahead with no particular emotion in his face, something close to boredom. Do you miss Gary? He suddenly asks. Not really. Let's go! Michigan rep! He suddenly asks, and the head boy choked on a spit. No, he yelps, but hunched over. Not after the torture he's put me through. Good, Jimmy says with a nod before standing up. Because the more you compare yourself to him in your mind, the less confident you'll get. We weren't even talking about Gary. We were not even discussing. He wasn't even a thought in our minds. Just now. You're crazy for bringing him up. Anyway, with those words in mind, he walked out the bus as the bell rang, and the brunette could only watch him after him in crippling self-doubt. The final bell rang, and everybody flooded out the school. Ah! Oh my god! Out the school when the intercom switched on. Most rolled their eyes, expecting an announcement on Darby winning admittance to an Ivy League school next year, or Pinky getting married. I don't know how that's relevant, but go off. Pinky getting married to a son of a very wealthy oil baron in the Middle East, except it was different. What a weird thing to say, considering canonically she's going to get married to her cousin, but go off. Students, attention please. As we approach the weekend, all faculty except for the prefects will be leaving for a spontaneous teacher training seminar in Liberty City, thanks to generous funding from Darby Harrington's father. We could just say his name. Thank you for your cringe. We are departing this evening, so please save all homework assignments for Monday afternoon. Thank you. Huh? Jimmy already. Why would everyone leave? That doesn't make any fucking sense. Jimmy already knew because of Petey being up to date with the news, but he still raised his eyebrows, impressed. Meanwhile, students excitedly whispered around him about the things that they can possibly get with while the teachers are away. Some mundane, like covering the entirety of the car park in graffiti, while some insisted. Car park is British, by the way. In America, we say parking lot. While some insisted on breaking windows and someone joked about holding an orgy in the girls' locker room. Ew. All of these crazy plans, despite the prefects still being around left behind, very likely being bitter about not getting the same rewarding breakaway from the school as the teachers are. Nice, Jimmy nods to himself, running to the dorm to pack his books away before getting dressed into casual clothing, preparing to go on a paper round run. Okay. Gotta save up to buy flowers. His ass never buys flowers, get real. It was already dark when Jimmy biked it back to the school on his Aquaberry racer. Shout out. Legs sore after being chased by a particularly irate postman who had the audacity to punch him in the head and knock him off his bike. So I get in trouble when I punch an adult, but when an adult hits a kid, it's legal, he grumbles in annoyance, hoisting his legs over and off the seat. Muttering colorful curses, he pushed his bike to his garage locker, and when he looked over to see a very stylish coach pull up into the car park, British, with a smooth hum of its beautiful engine, powered behemoth, much to the delight of teachers who wore their colorful holiday clothes, and what the fuck is going on? I need to reread this. Muttering colorful curses, he pushed his bike to his garage locker when he looked over to see a very stylish coach pull up into the car park with a smooth hum of its beautiful engine-powered behemoth. Okay, so it didn't make any sense even the second time around. I'm happy to report. Much to the delight of the teachers who wore their colorful holiday clothes and immediately began throwing their suitcases inside the compartment. Okay, I think a car pulled up and the teachers are putting their stuff in. Mrs. Phillips, lately married but kept her maiden name, spotted Jimmy just as he was about to walk past and called out to him, hurrying over as fast as her brand new heels could allow her. Jimmy, you're off to bed already? She asks. Yes, Mrs. Phillips, Jimmy nodded. Hope you guys enjoy yourselves. Oh, we will, she coos happily, glancing over at Mr. Galloway, awkwardly trying to push his suitcase in the compartment, much to the impatience of Dr. Slaughter, who only wore a pair of swimming trunks and flip-flops as he crossed his arms. Why is he wearing nothing? It's winter, I thought. The Harringtons have given us all a luxury suite each that comes with complimentary wines, she titters. I'll be sure to bring back some photos of Liberty City to show you, Jimmy. I promise to bring you a souvenir too. Thanks, Jimmy nodded, not wanting to tell her he already went there once and hated it. His art teacher gave him a beaming smile brighter than the lit streets before joining her newlywed husband's side, and they climbed up the steps of the tall coach, door sliding shut behind them. Okay, is a coach a bus? What is a coach in England? Fancy bus, I think. Okay, fancy bus. Maybe it's not British. Maybe it just feels British because I've never heard of it. Jimmy waved at them as the engine hissed, and with a groan, the vehicle stuttered into motion before it wheeled away, leaving his line of sight. Have fun, he sighed to himself and turned around, heading back to his home away from home, the boys' dorm. As he got closer, he could hear the ground thrumming with heavy music and saw disco lights flashing through the windows, some with streamers dangled over. Loud chatting could be heard, and some students hung out outside to smoke in private. Jimmy grinned and hurried over when he noticed Petey sitting on the stone steps, looking like someone crapped in his bed. His face was pressed into his hands, and Jimmy's heart missed a beat, with an idea on why his friend looks as miserable as a homeless puppy. Why would Jimmy's heart skip a beat upon seeing his friend sad? I don't get it. Whatever. In Britain, a comfortable bus that carries passengers on long journeys is called a coach. Oh, happy sip. That's. Thank you for your cringe as well. I mean, that doesn't even make any fucking sense. I'm so pissed. Boo. Anyway, yo, Petey, you okay? No, he whined loudly and stood up so quick he could have headbutted him. He pushed past Jimmy angrily, gesturing at the boys' dorm. 5 minutes after I'm told, keep things in order, Kowalski boy, by Dr. fucking Crabblesnitch, this shit starts to happen, he screamed at that building. But of course, like everyone else in his life, nobody listened. He coughed, shivering all over. Fucking, and now I'm getting a cold, he chattered, hugging himself, but Jimmy held his shoulder. Chill, man, he soothed. It's December after all. Good thing, too, because we're getting snow. Well, fuck me, he snarled and wobbled. But then Jimmy realized something with a frown and had a quick sniff near his mouth. Can I have a cringe for a quick sniff near his mouth? Thank you so much. Hey, have you been drinking? Yeah, so what? Petey growled. Stupid jocks think they can win me over. With a drink! Well, Gary wouldn't do this, so why not me? Thank you for your cringe. Jimmy held his shoulder still, peering at his eye. Just one drink? Yes, fucking listen to me. Ew, I know. Get away from there, man! Hearing Petey swear is on the highest level of hilarity. He is still rather short and cute, so it's hard to be mad at him for the foul language. Petey, your drink might have been spiked, Jimmy sighed. Yeah, let's take you to bed, and I'll try to calm people down. That's a lie, of course. But Petey weakly tried to resist his hold on his arm as he dragged him inside the dorm and to Jimmy's room, where he feels he'll be the safest, where he feels that he'll be the safest in, gently pushing him to his bed. All right, soldier, I may live like a slob, but take off your shoes or you'll get my bed mucky, got it? Actually, Jimmy never took his own shoes off, so I doubt he'd give a shit about other people's shoes. Just saying. I maybe I've played the game one too many times. It's possible. It is certainly possible. I don't want to sleep, the brunette protested. You could just say their names. You could just say his name. Whatever. Flopping back down onto the bed. I have to deal with this shit. I'll do it, he said with a grin. I'll even lock the door to keep you in here. Showing him his key, Jimmy quickly stepped out the room and slammed the door shut, locking it, and hearing it thud loudly as Petey complained. But his cries were muffled by the bass of the speakers strung up from the power supply shared with the intercoms. Sorry, can't hear ya. See you later, Jimmy gloated before hurrying off to join the loud party. Even some girls are in here, chatting with each other or eating snacks from the table that someone set up a buffet on. Where did we get the money for this? Mostly cheap crisps and buttered bread for some reason. At me. I love a little buttered bread. What can I say? It's good. It's a nice little snack. Kind of a good party. Crisps, British. Happy British sip, cat. That's big. That's huge. This one's being super British. What the fuck? The last one wasn't so bad. But at least they're edible, unlike Edna's food. But as Jimmy grabbed himself a beam cola, his eyes wandered over to the couch where Zoe sat on Constantino's lap, intensely listening to him drone on about the social decline of intelligence, with the dull tone typically used by neckbeard YouTubers reviewing children's cartoons. It is 2006. This is the most American media I've consumed. This? Thank you for your cringe. That was fucking horrific. It's 2006. I'm so pissed off. You can't talk like that in 2006. So when British people write fanfics, I'm so... Okay, no, so true. Okay, you mean the most British media you've consumed is... I'm sorry, the most American media you've consumed is Bully. Absolutely correct. And then British people are here. And it's like, I'm happy for you guys and everything. But... tone it down. Tone it down on the foul language. You know what I'm saying? Crisps. Anyway... With a shake of his head, Jimmy let out a depressed sigh and gulped the whole can down, only to hear screams as everybody turned their heads to see Fatty, wearing absolutely nothing apart from the Bullworth Bull mascot head, running away from some jocks carrying foam bats as they yelled something about getting points every time they hit him. Some girls screamed and covered their eyes as the unlucky nerd barged into the poker table being used by Darby, with a plaster over his nose, and Johnny, with a patch over his left eye, knocking their tokens off, and they shouted at him angrily. The jocks hooted as they shoved past people, yelling, hit the piggy, or 1 point for me, or if you're Dan, ding dong, bitch. May I have a cringe for ding dong, bitch, please? Thank you so much. Jimmy, stunned, can only utter, well, shit. Midnight closed in when the lights suddenly spluttered and the power cut off completely, drowning this. Thank you for your cringe. This bar doesn't need to be here. You can just say this and not have the bar. I'm just saying. Just letting you know. Just letting you know. Anyway, midnight closed in when the lights suddenly spluttered and the power cut off completely, drowning the place in darkness with only slight moonlight dimly lighting the place. Amongst the surprised yells and shrieks, gentle lights flickered on as those who smoked got their lighters handy. Frowning, Jimmy peered out the window to see wisps of snow descending to the ground, covering it in a light of dusting of frost already. This bar is like a mini time. To my knowledge, it was a mini time skip, but even if it's a time skip, you can just say at 3 o'clock or like a few hours later, and readers will know time has passed. I am not a bar defender. It's very rare that I use like when I'm writing, which I do. It's very rare that I use a little bar like that. It just feels unnecessary. Because at that point, just like make a chapter cut, which I never do, or or just leave it. Like it's not that big of a deal. And it's certainly not good when you're doing it like 7, but don't overuse it. If I can see 2 in one page, you're overusing it, man. You've got to cut it out. That's too many. Okay, where was I? Okay, frowning, Jimmy peered out the window to see wisps of snow descending to the ground, covering it in a light dusting of frost already. But to his surprise, he noticed that the main building has a light on the bottom floor that appears to be the teacher's lounge, despite the teachers making it clear earlier that the main building would be locked and inaccessible to students. Ernest walked beside Jimmy, seeing the same sight with a frown. No, when we write one. No bars, no chapters. So true, Trilla. No paragraphs either. Yeah, just one big huge paragraph, no indents. We die like men. Exactly. Now you're cooking. Anyway, hi Trilla. Hope you're well. Happy to see you. That's weird. The electrics are all connected, he muttered. How so? Jimmy stared at him and put it into words that non-nerds like me will understand. With people murmuring in disappointment and fumbling their way past each other behind them, the nerd leader inhaled. In the basement, near the hole, the electric and gas meters, RE, sip for cat, happy to hear that, man. I'm pretty good. It's been very British so far. Very unfortunate. But that's what Kat is sipping for this time, is British stuff. So she's drinking good for sure. Kat will be so fucking hydrated. Anyway, the electric and gas meters are in the same place for convenience. It's likely that the power has tripped, so all you have to do is flick the switches up again. Great, Jimmy grumbled. Even on this holiday, I'm still doing a shit. Ernest smiled at him. You're the boss, after all. Also random political stuff as well, because we already got one of those. I forgot what it was already, but it was very abrupt. At least Jimmy could see his way outside with the aid of a flashlight he kept handy for blackouts. No shot he fucking did that. Be honest. Can't wait for more. That was so true. You were so fucking hydrated for that one. That one was good. But to his nagging mind, he couldn't help but worry about the snowfall, which was gradually growing in intensity. He has to hurry. Walking up to the front doors, he slowly pushed one open and he stepped inside, flashlight revealing nothing or nobody about. Hello? He called out, voice echoing as he shivered from the cold, as he decided to shut the door behind him, and he made his way towards the teacher's lounge, where the door was left ajar with lamplight lighting the room. Come out, you won't get in trouble, he says, pushing the door open. The teachers are all away, so we're all... A metallic smell hit his nose, and he froze, eyesight conflicting with his mind, as his scent-triggered flashbacks interfered with his ability to process the sight of Sheldon, stuffed in a trash can, bag over his head, and blood seeping through it. Oh my god, it's our first murder. Nobody fucking panic. It's our first murder. And I think Sheldon's a baby, by the way. Like, he's just a little kid. Which is so fucked up that they decided to kill him, but go off, I guess. We're already on chapter 2. We might finish this in 2 streams, which would be sick. But anyway, I am not panicked. Very happy to hear that. Glad no one's panicked. Okay, anyway, chapter 2. Jimmy stumbled against the table, eyes still fixed on the gruesome sight before him. A random trash can in the middle of the staff lounge, with Sheldon stuffed inside it as you would with tissue paper for protective packaging, and a jute bag tied over his head with blood seeping through it. Panicked even. So true. Either or. Sheldon? His voice uttered hollowly. Didn't like hollowly. And he hesitantly stepped over, only to hear a squishing noise, and he looked down, not realizing how much blood appeared to have been spilt over the pristine rug. But just a foot away from the mess, a message was scrawled in spray paint on the wooden floor, spelled out, Jimmy was here. His heart did a triple flip. He backed up, only to bump into Ernest, Algie, and Cornelius at the doorway. Algie spotted the dead body first in the trash can and screamed, I found him like this! Thank you for the cringe. Jimmy blurted, growing cold, but Ernest and Cornelius stared at him while Algie passed out, peeing himself. Shout out LG. What? But the clique leader's eyes turned to Sheldon again before looking at him. But is that Sheldon dead? Can't wait to stutter in a minute here. It could be a prank, his friend squeaked and boldly walked over, ignoring the bloody mess on the rug as he hesitantly poked at the covered head and lolled to the side with more blood seeping through the material. He reeled back in horror. This rocks. Yeah, dude, murder would never let us down. No, it's real. Oh my god. That was bad. Cornelius, Jimmy spoke up quickly, shaking. You gotta calm down. If we start a panic, we'll get confused. But pure panic overtook Cornelius as he shoved past Jimmy, shrieking hysterically and his long arms waved about as he charged into the dark corridor without Ernest's lantern. Thank you for your cringe. Sheldon's been murdered! There's been a murder in the teacher's lounge! Hopkins, Ernest muttered darkly, looking at him as he flinched. You've been gone approximately 10 minutes. It shouldn't take that long to get to this room for a simple checkup. What are you saying? The ginger snapped at him as he backed up in horror. Well, Ernest gulps, you've always expressed dissatisfaction at being tattled on by the younger students, so that's a motive to kill him. Explosive anger overtook Jimmy. I didn't kill him, Jimmy ranted. Look at my hands, they're... But in the light of Ernest's lamp, they could clearly see blood smeared on Jimmy's hand as well as something fibrous. Wait, he stumbled, pointing at the table. I just leaned against it without thinking, and oh god. It was only then that Jimmy realized that there were odd, glistening viscera spread across the... Oh my god, what the fuck? Sorry, I skipped ahead. Spread across the table, top of the table, as well as cracks in the wood and the corner. The table was practically drenched in blood. Ernest's hand shot to his mouth, eyes growing huge. Are those brains? If I'm gonna stutter, it's gonna be on the sh sound and not the S in itself. And I don't even think they said anything. Oh, never mind. Got it. Seldom is what he would have said, but I agree. And it wouldn't be this many times. Or maybe it would. I stutter, and it's pretty bad. Okay, why did they write this? Why did they write this? I know. What compelled you? But whatever. We're here now. Anyway, where was I? Are those brains? Algie, who just regained consciousness, no shot that happened, fainted again upon hearing that. Okay, never mind. It was a bit. Still stunned, Jimmy was about to walk out the room when he noticed someone standing in the darkness ahead of him in the corridor. Their shoes could only be seen thanks to the lamplight, but the rest of their profile was obscured by darkness. Without thinking, Jimmy charged and the figure ahead began to run. Heart hammering, he practically flew through the air as the pursuit carried on out of the ground floor west wing and towards the main hall where the front doors had been left wide open. Stop right there, he roared, inching closer and closer to the slower figure, only to hear the sound of rattling, and before he knew it, he was moving too fast and collapsed to the floor and hitting his head against the wall. Anything for the bit, so true. Vision blurring, he tried to get to his feet, but the marbles that bastard threw to the ground made him fall over again, just in time for almost a horde of students to pour through the entrance to look down in confusion at Jimmy. The murderer ran out that way, he yelled. Go after them! But the boys glanced at each other. Go now, the king screamed, but Damon spoke up hesitantly. Dude, we didn't see anyone. What? Jimmy snapped, and finally stood up properly. But I saw them go out that door before they threw the goddamn marbles down and made me slip. Come on, we didn't see anyone, Lance piped up nervously. Cornelius was screaming about a murder, but it could be a prank. But Jimmy couldn't stop. He barged past them all and into the snow, looking around frantically at the ground for footprints. But because of this group pouring into the building, the perpetrator's footprints would have been covered up too. Damn it! He yelled into the night as more snow fell. Jimmy was forced to sit in the center of the cafeteria while students wandered around, muttering amongst themselves in a mix of horror and surprise. The king seethed and tried to break free from the cables tying his ankles and wrists to the chair. Okay. Time skips are fine when it's boring stuff that happened. But everyone fucking captured him. That's an extremely interesting scene. You can't just cut a super interesting scene like that. You can't do that. Oh my god, that's sick work. You can't. That's nasty. Okay, anyway, moving on. From what he could hear, nobody flipped the electrics back on, or they were too shocked by the death of a fellow student to really consider doing that. Finally, while almost the entire school, a huge plot point, because he could have escaped, he could have run away and gotten out of there before they, because he knew he was going to be blamed for murder, because he was already starting to be blamed for murder in the room. So, um, also he's fast, canonically, in the game. Just saying. The electrics. British. Finally, while almost the entire school filed into the cafeteria, all eyes on Jimmy, Ernest strolled towards him with a solemn look. "James Hopkins, I called for a clique leader meeting in the auditorium and we made some decisions." "I swear I didn't kill Sheldon," the ginger yelled, chair rattling, and some students backed up with gasps. "He was dead when I found him." "But you were gone for 10 minutes, the nerd pointed at him. "That would have been more than enough time to seize the poor lad, bash his head against the table so hard that his brain spilt everywhere, and then you shoved him into the trash can." Groans and gags are heard from the captivated audience. "And why would I kill him?" the prisoner snarls. "Just say, Jimmy. Fuck, I'm gonna kill myself." "Because," Ernest briefly hesitated before finishing with a flourishing wave of his hand over his forehead, voice rising dramatically. "I would not be this dramatic when there's a murder going on, but sure, go off. You can no longer stand being told on for petty crimes, so to avenge your pride, you murdered Sheldon. That's enough." All eyes turned on Johnny Vincent. Sorry, I think that would take more than a That was not a No, no. And also, like, why were the lights on? Where was Sheldon before that? Did anybody see Sheldon? Did he disappear earlier? Blah, blah, blah. This is not solid detective work, Ernest. You're really bad at this. All eyes turned as Johnny Vincent stormed towards him, stopping short of a meter. British. With a steely glare from his good eye. "We agreed to keep an eye on Jimmy, not lock him up," Ernest sniffled, crossing his arms. "Well, we have a murderer wandering the school grounds, not to mention that Jimmy's trademark graffiti was discovered at the scene of the crime." "Graffiti is easily faked, you brainless idiot," the greaser snapped, and the nerd gasped sharply. But brainless? Yes, Johnny roared, and he backed up with a whimper. "And besides, I don't believe that Jimmy killed anyone, even if he is a jerk sometimes." Before someone could protest, Johnny pulled a pocket knife from his pocket, pretty classic place for a pocket knife to be, and cut the bonds, keeping Jimmy tied down. Mutters escalated as the prisoner stood up, rubbing his sore wrists and giving Johnny a look of gratitude. "Thanks, man," he says hoarsely, his own voice weak from so much yelling, before he glared at Ernest. "And as for you, Ernest, I think we can both agree that it would be inadvisable to get on my bad side. Politically, of course." Yes, sir," he gulped, and looked up just as Ted and Darby approached them. "Why is he not in his chair?" Darby sniffed, and Johnny's glare burned into his skull, but Jimmy touched his arm reassuringly. "Because until we get everybody strapped down, nobody is getting accused of murder. Got it? So what is the plan, then?" Ted muttered, looking sick. "Because the girls are still in their dorm." "Boo! Let the woman hang out and solve the murder." "Boo! Eunice would solve this crime in fucking split second. I know she would." "Good," Jimmy said. "I agree. Boo. I hate when people cut women out of things. Lame. Uh, uh, may I have a cringe for no woman? Thank you so much. In advance." "Good," Jimmy said firmly. "Ted, go tell Mandy to tell all the girls and first years to remain in the girls' dorm. Nobody gets in or out. Johnny," he adds, thank you for your cringe, turning to the greaser, "grab your boys and to herd up all the boys to this cafeteria. If we divide the groups, we'll be safer in large numbers." With nods of agreement, Ted and Johnny left together. "And what about me?" Darby raised an eyebrow, arms crossed. "Because I'd very much rather be in Harrington House with my men than be in here." "Good idea," Jimmy says lightly. "Go grab all your preppy buddies and hole up while the food supplies are here." "We'll just order takeout," the prep leader blurted, flustered, but then, at the moment, Johnny and Ted hastily returned to the cafeteria, both with indescribable shock in their expressions. "Guys, the snowstorm is picking up fast," Johnny shouted out loud enough for every student to hear. "We have to get back to the dorms immediately." "Thought we just established the food was in here." I mean, like, live your life or whatever, but panic rose with everyone getting up from the floor and chairs quickly. Also, it would not be that fucking hard to get from the boys' dorm to, thank you for your cringe, the boys' dorm to the school, the girls' dorm. The campus, I feel like, would be easily navigable. There's no shot you're getting lost for shit in a snowstorm on campus. You're fucking fine. Even if visibility is kind of dog shit. And I'll stand by that. Cause just, like, hug the walls. I don't know. Shut the fuck up. Anyway. Panic rose with everyone getting up from the floor and chairs quickly, but Jimmy jumped onto the table to yell, "Wait, we have to stick to the plan!" But nobody listened to him.